Welcome to tonight's show. We are back from Fiorama 25, a show that was 25 years in the making. Fiorama 25 turned out to be the biggest show in almost 15 years. I am your host, Mike Croyer, and you are listening to the newest episode of FieroCast, the only podcast dedicated to the Pontiac Fiero. You can find past FieroCast episodes at fierofocus.com and also on our Facebook page. Let's heat up the engines and wave goodbye to this year's Fiorama 25. All right, we are going to start with the 25th annual post-show of the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts Fiorama, which was held in St. Charles at the gorgeous Potawatomi Park, sitting on the great Fox River. We want to start off by saying this show cannot happen without you, without your support, and without the support of our Fiero community and our key sponsors. They are the Fiero Store, V8 Archie, Mr. Mike's Upholstery, Woody Buick GMC of Naperville, Bonter Solutions, and Fast Signs of Elk Grove Village. You, the Fiero community, made this show the biggest show in years. We had 102 Fieros on the show field. We had Fieros that were stock, custom, modified, engine swaps, street rods, projects, and complete rebodies. We even had the Lowrider Magazine Fiero show up. And you can listen to that past podcast of that car, and you can find that at fierofocus.com under FieroCast. Great podcast of how that car was found and just rejuvenated into the state that it is right now. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's sit back and take a listen to what the Fiero Store has to offer. We know how hard it is to find Fiero parts. We also know that as years go by, finding parts isn't going to get any easier. The big box stores will never make new Fiero parts because our community is just too small. This is why we need to support the companies that support us. For nearly 30 years, the Fiero Store has sponsored our club events, provided free technical support, and produced well over 150 exclusive parts that no big box store would even consider. So, next time you need Fiero parts, head over to thefierostore.com and browse through thousands of products that are specifically designed for your Fiero. That's fierostore.com, the world's largest source of Fiero parts. All right, let's kick off the post-Fiorama show weekend with a recap of how the show and how the weekend went. So on Friday night, we wound up going to the Wahlburgers on Friday night. The group headed out around 5:45 from the host hotel, headed to Wahlburgers for dinner. Wahlburgers is owned by the Wahlberg family, and each location is owned and operated by a member of the Wahlberg. This location is owned by Donnie Wahlberg, and his layout of the restaurant was Blue Bloods and New Kids on the Block. So if you have a chance to go there, it is a good restaurant, great food. They are located on Randall Road in St. Charles, right across the parking lot from Meijer. It was our first time going to Wahlburgers, and we had a record attendance. Just like the whole weekend, we had record-breaking attendance. This event drew 44 people and 20 Fieros, so we had a good turnout for this dinner. We could not say enough about the service we received by the restaurant staff. Despite being shorthanded during our visit, they were great. I would highly recommend their hamburgers. Their special sauce is delicious. During dinner, we had a group of the staff go out, check out some of the cars, and we asked them to pick their favorite Fiero. And as they were out and about, and also, serving us and all that fun stuff, they picked Eric White's Fiero of South Dakota. He owns an 88 Fiero Coupe with an LS4 F40 swap that is painted, I'm going to get this wrong, Aronico Borealis Orange. And Eric's Fiero was chosen as the Wahlburgers' favorite Fiero. So congratulations to Eric, and we know that you made it home safely. You have some, from what you said, you had some cleanup on the front from all the bugs. But again, thank you for making that drive and coming out to your first Fierorama. Thank you, thank you. All right, before we get into the Saturday events, let's sit back and take a listen to what the Midwest Fiero Clubs has to offer. Have you asked yourself, what is the Midwest Fiero Clubs? Well, the Midwest Fiero Clubs, which is also a region of the AACA, is a dedicated group of enthusiasts whose passion is to promote and preserve the Pontiac Fiero and the Fiero community. The Midwest Fiero Clubs consists of members from existing Fiero clubs across the U.S. The Midwest Fiero Club's intent is to support member clubs and promote the Fiero-related events that they offer. The intent is to enable enthusiasts to discover events in their areas other than their own, and to warrant participation. This has created a tighter-knit Fiero community of the owners and created some great regional shows that may not have otherwise happened. So, how do I find out about them? You can visit the website at midwestfieroclubs.aaca.com or just Facebook them at Midwest Fiero Clubs AACA and like them. All right, so after our awesome Friday night event and everybody got well rested from driving in, we decided on Saturday to set up something that kind of went with our theme, Soaring to New Heights. So we kicked off Saturday, September 11th with a cruise up to the Northern Illinois Air Show in Waukegan, Illinois at the Waukegan Airport. This was an interesting event, as it was another well-attended event with 33 people participating, and I believe we had about 16 to 18 Fieros cruise up. I know a couple people brought their daily driver cars and appreciated. I mean, you guys increased our numbers for the event. Again, another record-breaking event as far as attendance goes. As far as the actual air show, I know that they had a record-breaking attendance as well. But the regional air show had a lot to offer with military aircraft dating back to World War II through the Vietnam War years. You got to get up close and personal with them. You got to see just how big these birds are compared to seeing them in the sky. There were even pyrotechnics to create some realism. It was a hot day, but worth it. I recommend if you're able to go next year. It is a great event put on by the airport. The special honor, they did have a special honor to the fallen Americans who lost their lives on 9/11, and it was very moving. They had paratroopers jump from about 18 to 20,000 feet, and as they were paratrooping down, they had the American flag, they had the POW flag, they had a commemorative 9/11 flag, and it was something just to take it all in, and they did extremely well. So again, the show was awesome. It was great. If you had your kids come along, they enjoyed it, especially just seeing the planes up close. So, but enough of me talking. Let's take a listen as we sit back and hear some of the historic birds in action.
Fire! Starting to come up on the throttle. Right side comes up well and enters the Number 1, 2, and 3. And in trail, that's Ron Staley as he flies the blue L39 with the 8.9s on the wingtips. Coming down our show line, ladies and gentlemen, they are your 2021 Hoppers.
Yep. All right, here comes the blue one.
That's mine.
This one right there. All right. I hope you enjoyed that little snippet of what was going on at the air show. And like I said, it was pretty intense, pretty packed, and just seeing some of these warbirds in action was pretty cool. So after the air show, we returned either individually or in a group back to the host hotel. And at that point, we celebrated Fiorama's silver anniversary. Yet another record attendance for the pizza party where we had 63 people and we devoured 12 extra large pizzas. So everybody was hungry. Thank you. Hope everybody enjoyed the pizza party. This year we ordered from Chicago's favorite, Giordano's Pizzeria. In all, 11 pizzas were consumed, and wow, like I said, what a hungry crowd. N.I.F.E's First Lady Jenny Hallman baked 2 homemade pies, 1 cherry and 1 blueberry for dessert. Thank you, Jenny. Those pies were awesome. A full sheet cake was also served for dessert, with decorating paying homage to Fiorama's 25th anniversary. And what a dinner bargain for only $10 a person. All the pizza you can eat, the dessert, the pop, all that fun stuff. So, before we get into our main event, let's sit back and take a listen to what Bonter Solutions has to offer.
Are you looking for that special personalized gift for someone? Bonter Solutions can help you find that one-of-a-kind gift. Anything from t-shirts, sweatshirts, drinkware, signs, decorative items, holiday items, and so much more. They can design pretty much anything you want on them, from pictures of your car, your favorite sports team, a pet, or any saying that you want. The list is endless. Minimums are just one of each of any item, and the best thing is, they do not charge a setup fee. You can catch Bonter Solutions at several Fiero and Pontiac events in the area. Fierorama, the Dells Run, the 40th anniversary show coming up in a couple years, and the 2021 Indian Uprising All Pontiac show. So, feel free to visit their website at bontergifts.web.com or give them a call at 847-453-3290. You can also email them at bonnie@bontersolutions.com. We also have promotional item products that they offer as well. That website is bontersolutions.com.
All right. Thank you, Bonter Solutions, and also for being a key sponsor for Fiorama 25. Hope you enjoyed the show as well. I know you guys had a lot of people come to your tent just behind me and the DJ booth. So, all right. So, what can we say about Fiorama Sunday? It was a blast. It was great seeing everyone. It was the best time heading into the final show of the Fiero season. So, as I stated, and as started seeing the Fieros arrive around 8 a.m. and continue up until registration closed around 1 p.m., we had a total of 102 Fieros on the show field, spanning from owners coming in from 19 states. Again, record-breaking Sunday. record-breaking Sunday. Not only Fieros attending, but the amount of people coming from the 19 different states. That is amazing. This was the highest attendance that we've had at Fiorama since 2005, when we had 141 Fieros come out to see the GM prototypes at Fiorama 10. That was our 10th anniversary. And 15 years later, we break that all-time record since. So 102 Fieros since 2005 is awesome. Thank you guys for coming out and having so many first-time attendees from so many different states. The event nobody could beat this event except for Carlisle. But it was great to see so many familiar faces too that we had not seen in 2 years due to the 2020 pandemic, and just catching up with so many people that was a prize in itself. We had Fieros from stock to mild to heavy custom, non-V8 Fiero swaps to full V8 Fiero engine swaps, street rods with front end engine conversions. I gotta tell you, the last time we saw something like this was back in 2019, but just seeing how the craftsmanship is to do something like this, and Eric bringing the car up from Alabama was great. Thank you very much. And just seeing that in person and not just pictures on Facebook was great. We had Super Fieros, we had Project Fieros, we had rebodies, and we had so much more. Just the stock, the restoration Fieros. We had Nick DeMonte, who completely took his car down to the chassis and rebuilt and restored it to what a true Fiero would look like coming off the assembly line. We had Kevin Holmes, one of our younger members of N.I.F E, completely restore an 86 GT. The dedication that these two guys have in restoration is awesome. Thank you guys for bringing them out. But as the cars were rolling in, we wanted to make sure that everybody got equal as far as classifying their cars. So we caught up with Bill Clicker. He is the head chair of chairman of classification, and we caught up with him, and let's hear a little bit of what Bill has to say about Fiero car classification. We are here with Bill Clicker. He is our head of classification. Can you explain how's that classification process work as the cars are coming in?
Sure, Mike. I'm usually the first person to see somebody as they come to the show field, which is a nice opportunity for me, so I get to see everyone. But car classification, we're looking for certain attributes of the car. Fiorama, if you've been here before, we break down cars by the quantity of viewable modifications. We came up with this scheme many years ago as a way to differentiate your stock cars from your custom cars and divide up the classes that way. So usually when a driver pulls up, if I can't tell, if it's not overly obvious, first question I have is what kind of engine are you running? Because that will either drive me towards a engine swap class or possibly a stock or custom class at that point.
Is there a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot of, but is there some confusion on what you see versus what the owner has?
Usually not. I mean, everybody's pretty easygoing, and we are here too, I think. We try and work with owners. A lot of times you can be a candidate for a custom or an engine swap class. And so at that point, I have a conversation with the owner, and I say, look, you could fit in either. I'm fine with either. And we kind of come to that decision together. Rarely do we have any kind of dispute or argument about it. We're all pretty easygoing here, and so if you feel like you want to be in a custom class, even though you really only have maybe 3-4 modifications, we'll work with you. It's not a big deal.
Do you think since implementing this process, it's a lot easier for the owners as well, instead of just having them go into registration and say, I think I have a custom car?
For sure, because we really need to put eyes on the car. And for example, you may have a custom radio, and you may have a custom cup holder and leather seats. I might consider that one mod, kind of depending on how things shake out. If we're right on the border, we might tip the scale, towards the more restrictive class. But it's or a body mod. You may have scoops, and you may have a hood scoop and side scoops. I call that one mod. It's a body modification.
Okay.
And so it's hard for somebody inside not looking at the car to appreciate that. If you ask an owner how many mods do you have, they'll start tallying these things up. I've got custom valve covers, and I've got different seat cover on my car right now, and floor mats. So it's better, I think, to put eyes on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It helps understand the classification process a little more too, and it helps the owners as well. So, thank you, and
Thanks, Mike.
and enjoy the rest of the show.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you, Bill, again for explaining how the classification process works. Thank you. So, as you come through classification, you're then going to the registration, and at that point, you are fully registered for the show. Once the show kicked off, we started at noon. The show kicked off with Jim Stombrace playing the national anthem on his trumpet, and then paying tribute to the fallen for 9/11. He played taps as well. Very emotional. There was a nice silence after that. We were not expecting that, but everybody did take a moment of silence, and I would say it was probably a good 2 or 3 minutes. So that was a very special moment. We had Bonter Solutions as well as members from Keith Goodyear's GT taillights come in with vendor displays. I hope you guys all enjoyed attending Fierorama, and hope everybody was able to meet up with you guys and learn more about your products and what you guys had to offer. We also want to say thank you to Jersey Mike's for providing the great food for the day, as well as Garageless YouTube. He's got his own YouTube channel for doing our tech session that we had. Hope everybody was able to get over there and see the car and just what he has going on with that. It's a special car. The one thing I noticed over the past couple of years is it always has a different paint color when it comes to, or paint scheme when it comes to Fiorama. So that was very interesting. So thank you for hosting our tech session. We saw a lot of owner and spectators enjoying the atmosphere that is Fiorama. Fiero friends, Fiero family, just people coming to the park who wanted to take a walk through the show. And those who have not seen each other in a few years were able to meet up and enjoy the camaraderie that is Fiorama. The one thing that I will say that we saw a lot of this year was Fiero owners helping Fiero owners. This is why I always say our community is one big family, and no matter what happens, we are always there for one another. Sunday also provided a new secondary raffle. This was the first year that we decided to do this. The raffle included every car that was registered for the show. You didn't have to buy into the raffle. If you entered your car into the show and you had a registration number, you were automatically entered into this raffle. And your raffle number got put into a bucket, and every 30 minutes, a handful of numbers were pulled. And every fifth car would advance to the next round. So on the board, if you had your number and you were on the left side of the board, you were, in essence, done, disqualified, or not moving on. If you were on the right side of the board, that was the right side of the board to be on. You advanced to the next round. At the end, we saw the top 4 cars pulled walk away with $25, $50, $75, and $150 in cash. So the top 4 winners walked away with cold hard cash. The cool thing that one winner walked away with was a special edition Hot Wheels Jegs car. And I know that's one thing that you don't want to ever grab off the door prize table is a Jegs hat, those yellow with black brim. But this car was pretty cool. It was a yellow car. I think it was a Dodge Charger, fully yellow with Jegs decals all over it. So that was a pretty cool prize. So let's take a break and cut into the action that was Fiorama 25 and talk with Rob Bartlett and his son Charlie. All right, we are here at Fiorama 25 and we are chatting with Rob and Charlie Bartlett. Yeah, I'm going to include you. You don't get out of this. You guys came down from Minnesota.
That's right.
How was your trip first?
Good. It was great. I picked Charlie up from school 2:30 in the afternoon on Friday, and we just deadheaded down here and pit stop in Dells to see some Fieros on a stick down there and trek the rest of the way. It was great.
It's been a while since you guys been here. Definitely it's been a while for you.
Yep.
What are your guys' thoughts on we hit 100 cars today?
That's pretty awesome. It's actually been 15 years since I've been down here. The first year they had it here at the park was the last time I was down here. So it's great to see so many people out here. Great to see so many cars and see people I haven't seen in a long time. Introduce Charlie to lots of new people. It's great.
What do you think so far?
Pretty fun. Pretty hot too.
What do you think of some of the super, what I call super Fieros that showed up?
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah, a lot of engineering that goes into those ones. Yeah. Did recently just pulled in is the lowrider car that was featured in Lowrider magazine.
Yeah, we've been watching the progress on that from Winged Horse Garage on YouTube. So we're definitely looking forward to going over and checking that thing out in person.
So how overall, would you guys rate the show? Poor? It's probably poor, right?
Oh, terribly poor. No, we love it down here. We love hanging out with N.I.F. and our friends, and maybe a little cooler temperature next year would be good. But other than that, it's been a great
No
week.
rain. It's not raining.
I can pass on the rain.
There you
I've
go.
done cold Fioramas before as well.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great week.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. It's a pleasure that to have you guys here and to join us in this monumental 25th anniversary Fiorama.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you much.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Rob and Charlie, coming down from Minnesota. That was one of the 19 states, and it's always a pleasure seeing you guys and talking with you guys. And just getting Charlie involved in the Fiero community and just having him participate in stuff is awesome. Oh, the one thing I did forget to mention also, as a special surprise to everyone that registered their car, everyone received a special N.I.F.E 30th anniversary silver keychain to also go along with the silver anniversary of Fiorama. Thank you to Bonter Solutions for sponsoring and donating those. Those things looked awesome. Nice bright silver to go along with not only the 30th anniversary of N.I.F., but also the 25th silver anniversary with Fiorama. One of the special moments that we saw was the Midwest Fiero Club's Best in the Midwest competition. And this year's event was Fiero owners younger than the Fieros. And the current generation or owners of Fieros is not getting any younger. I started back in 1997, and we're now in the year 2021. And I think the average age right now of owners is in probably their early to mid 50s on average. So we're not getting younger, and just seeing the younger generation come up and bring new ideas and new innovations to the Fiero is something that Hulky wanted and enjoyed seeing on just how the Fiero would take it into the next generation. So this year, the Midwest Fiero Clubs was honoring the younger generation of the Fiero enthusiasts who was properly represented at this year's Fiorama, as we highlighted the Fiero owners younger than their cars. And those basically, if you were born after the model year 1988, and you had an 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, you were classified as younger than your car. And what an enthusiastic group we had coming into Fiorama, many of whom personally selected the Fiero to be their first car. And we need to figure out a way to make sure that we sustain their enthusiasm for years to come. So some of the participants that we had, again, these were owners and Fieros that were picked during the Midwest Fiero Club show season that started back at the Dells. And we started with Greg Henderson from Illinois with a custom red 86 SE with a 3800 V6 turbocharged Fiero. We had Larkin Christie from Iowa with a personalized silver 87 GT. Justin Picard from Pennsylvania with a red 88 GT with a great and awesome LS4 swap. We had John Revelle from Illinois with a white 88 Formula. Christina Kahn from Michigan with a black 86 GT with a North Star. And we had Kevin Holmes from Illinois with an 86 GT, which was restored by himself. So we had Greg Henderson from the Dells, Larkin Christie from back to the 80s, Justin Picard from Carlisle, John Revelle from the Tyler Shipman show, Christina Kahn from the Michigan show, and then Kevin Holmes from Fiorama. But before we get into the winners, let's meet up with Fred Bartemeyer and let him explain how this year's competition came about and what the criteria is or was going into Fiorama, and what he and the group and you guys and just everybody that was voting on these cars had to say. All right, we are here now with Fred Bartemeyer. He came in from Iowa. This is your very first Fiorama, isn't it?
Yeah, right. First one today. Yes, this is the very first one for 2021.
There you go.
I agree, yes.
Well, thank you for coming in. You are overseeing the Midwest Fiero Club's Best in the Midwest, Younger Than Your Fiero competition.
That is
here.
correct.
Explain how all this has come about and what culminates today on who could possibly walk away with bragging rights to the best in the Midwest.
Well, what we're looking for is the young people that are coming through the Fiero community. And at each show this year, each club has selected their best young person that has brought their Fiero to a Fiero show. And the culmination is to bring the cars to Fiorama for the final competition. And a few weeks ago, I was looking at the winners from each show. And I saw that there was a very, very strong competition this particular year. So I devised the idea of continuing with the popular vote, where the participants of each show, cast their votes and pick their favorite one. We're going to utilize that. I also added a concourse style interview where I had a selected question for each person, and we interviewed, and the judging team analyzed the responses to make a determination on that section. And then in addition to that, we wrote a 100-point judge sheet to evaluate the car itself. So it was 100 points scale, and the combination of the 3 points of competition will help determine the overall winner.
Wow, that's a pretty, I'll say pretty intense.
Well, what we found is, like I said, the competition's pretty thick, and the candidates were very strong. And yes, I agree. It's been a little bit of a hard decision. But
When you say the level of competition. Explain what type of cars you guys were looking at today.
Well, the cars themselves, each one of them are very unique in their own fashion. We have anything from a very, very well preserved stock Fiero all the way through a very, very highly modified Fiero, and the ranges in between have varying degrees of uniqueness. And each one, doing the interview part of it, helped determine, the level of involvement each person had with their car and their involvement in the Fiero community.
Wow. Yeah, I just by looking at them myself, just the craftsmanship and the time and effort that everybody has put into their car is just amazing.
Yep.
And to be in that younger group to do that is just awesome too.
And I'll honestly say that out of the 6 people that we interviewed today, every single one of them are into their car, where it's not just a frivolous interest, it is a direct interest, and that's where they spend most of their spare time, is with their Fiero, whether they're working on it, cleaning it, taking it to the shows, driving it out for ice cream, you name it. So the interest is very strong.
That's what we like
I can
to hear
really
too.
appreciate.
Yes, yep. Well, we look forward to seeing who will be crowned the best in the Midwest, who's got
Yep.
those bragging rights.
We still have a heck of a decision to make here in a short period of time.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
And we look forward to what you guys come up for next year.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Fred. That was very informational on what the criteria were and what you guys were looking for the Best in the Midwest competition. So we're going to jump around here. And before we get into the winner's circle, let's talk about the volunteers. Wanted to thank all of those who helped out the N.I.F.E board to make Fierorama the success that it was. Gordon Grassel, John Perapinski, Lou Oles, Chuck Lovely, Gary Kay, Adam Thompson, Gary Galetta, Mark Nicholas, Don Castilla, Charles Treatman, Nick DeMonte, Lynn Kudroko, Ed Coletta, Jen Goss, Shannon Foley, Scott and Teresa Campbell, Jen Picard, Jenny Hallman, and Debbie Soldner. Thank you for volunteering and helping make this show a success. Also want to thank our event chairperson, Jim Hallman, our parking lot head coordinator, Art Hall, car classifier head coordinator, Bill Clicker, club display head coordinator, Mark Soldner, registration head coordinator, Paul Vargas, ballot counting head coordinator, Ken Nagel, publicity chairman, Art Hall, documents chairperson, Mike Croyer, and then DJ and raffles, Mike Croyer as well. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the conclusion of Fierorama 25. We will have the full list of winners up on the website under the Fierorama tab, as well as also working on a Fierorama 25 video special. Should be done in the next couple weeks or so. So be on the lookout for that at FieroFocus.com, as well as our Facebook page, N.I.F E Club, and our Fierorama page as well. But let's check out some of the special moments that this show has brought. We had 2 special N.I.F.E awards that went out this year. The awards are for Members of the Year and Enthusiasm Award. And the first one that was given out, this year's award, is presented to an N.I.F.E member who joined our club back in 2004. And as member number 1037, he has relentlessly supported Fierorama and the Midwest Fiero Club events across the Midwest. He is an original owner of his 86 Fiero SE, affectionately known to all of us as the Rattler, for his ongoing support of the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts. The N.I.F E board at the show have bestowed the honor of our 2021 Member of the Year to Tom Schmidt. So Tom, congratulations on that award. It does mean a lot to us that the enthusiasm that you show to our club and to the Fiero community as well. The second award, this year's award, again is presented to an N.I.F.E member who joined our club back in 2020. He has traveled from Pennsylvania to participate in events from across the Midwest, from the Dells to back to the 80s show in Minnesota, as well as Fierorama and many other shows. He is an owner of an 87 Black GT, and for maintaining his enthusiasm to the Fiero community these past years, the N.I.F.E board members have chosen Wayne Gieb for our 2021 N.I.F.E Enthusiasm Award. So congratulations, Wayne. Safe travels back, and it's an honor to have you as a member. The other special moments that we had was the Hard Luck Helping Hand Award. This year we had a few hiccups. Normally there's usually only one, but this year we had three. So let's take a listen to the special moments that happened to these three. I'm not going to say finalists, but these three stories have one common aspect, and that is how the Fiero community has come together and the amount of support and just how they helped these three members get back on the road. If not on the road, got them back home. And yeah.
All right, for the next grouping, we have some special awards. We're going to need some audience participation on these. I've heard a couple of stories already. First one is a Hard Luck, or what we call the Helping Hand Award. I heard a story about a broken steering rack. That was one story. Why don't we, just a show of hands, who has a hard luck story that they wanted to present for the award? We have the steering rack. I see the guy, I see it. Come on up, tell us about your steering rack story. Do we have any others?
You got a helping hand.
Greg has a great story.
Greg, you have a great story, I heard. Let's hear your great story. So we have two to pick from. Looks like Greg's almost here. Greg. No, go ahead. Come on up.
Drove all the way out here from Rochester, New York. Got to the hotel. Had a good night's sleep. Got up to go to the air show, and antifreeze is all down the back of my car. Thinking the worst is over, and how am I going to get to the show today? The Fiero community pulled together. And with their help and support, I was able to get the car back up and into the lot. Thank you.
You have to get the crowd emotional, right? That's what I'm telling you ahead of time.
Hard to compete against that. I got mine done at 4 a.m. after having a stroke 6 weeks ago. Hooked up with my buddies 45 minutes late. I don't know what we hit. I think it was a skyscraper, all three of us. 20 minutes later, no steering. I drove it 72 miles according to my GPS, no steering. I had to steer 1.5 turns to correct it to keep it in the lane. That gentleman's got a good story. I vote for him.
We have a third one.
I'm going to go along with his story and saying that you guys help us extremely well when our cars go down. My car went down on the way to dinner on Friday night. Still trying to figure out what it is, but I made a call to Jen Goss, and she was able to put me in the hands of Eric. And he dropped his car over at Wahlburgers and drove about an hour down to get me, loaded up the car, took me back to Crystal Lake to go back to Wahlburgers to get his car to go back to the hotel. And I can't say enough how much, through the podcast I do, through everything that I say, you guys are our biggest family. You guys help us so much. No matter who we are, if we have a hot rod, if we have a stock car, something goes wrong, you guys help us. You guys give us the drive to get those cars back up and running. If we can't do it ourselves, you guys help us. You guys give us the pointers on what to look for. So you guys are, you guys are all our family. You guys stick with us, and you guys help us. And that's what really, really is the key here. So, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody who kind of gave me the pointers to look for and get my car back up. It's the first year in 24 years I wasn't here with my car, so I kind of feel naked. But seeing all the cars here and as many cars, it just brings the family together. So, thank you.
So I think knowing that usually we have kind of one story, I think this time, since we have 3 fabulous stories and they all revolve around how we support each other as the Fiero community, I think we're going to award all 3 of them. So Ron Christensen, Greg Tripp, and Mike Croyer. We only have 1 award, so we will mail out. Well, Mike, you can print up your own.
I'm going to give mine to Eric because he was the true saver for me.
All right. So we got, we'll just print up 2 more awards. So Greg, why don't we give you your award, and then Ron, we will mail one out to you.
Fill my car with it. It's going to stay here.
You know what? Since I work right across the street, I'll put it in the windshield. How's that?
Wow. Just listening to that again just brings back just how the Fiero community does come together. So before we announced who took Best in Show and the Midwest Fiero Club winners, we want to say thank you to the Fiero clubs that made it to this year's Fierorama, as well as all the states that were represented. Club participation came from the Fiero Fanatics of Wisconsin, the Heartland Fieros of Iowa, Minnesota Fieros Forever, Michigan Fiero Club, Mid-Atlantic Fiero Owners Association, and the Midwest Fieros. Some of the states, if not all the states that were represented, was Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, Indiana, Virginia, Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, North Carolina, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Colorado, and South Dakota. Now, let's get to the big moment of the Best in the Show winners and the Midwest Fiero Club's winners. You voted and you decided who you wanted to stay true to blue. And on the bright blue sky day, the winners are Best in Show stock with his 87 blue GT, Jeff Jones, and your Best in Show non-stock with an 85 blue GT, nicknamed the Blue Demon, Jennifer Goss. So the True Blues took the Best in Shows. Congratulations to you both, and we hope to see you both at Fierorama 26. All right, now moving into the next big award is the Midwest Fiero Club's Best in the Midwest. The Fiero owners younger than their Fiero. In years past, there has only usually been one winner, one person to brag that they've got the best in the Midwest. But this year's show, as you heard from Fred, was a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more competitive, and so many awesome cars that showed up for this year's main event. So this year's trophies were generously sponsored by the Fiero Store and the Midwest Fiero Clubs. And without further ado, this year's winners are, we're going to say stock and modified. John Revelle with his stock 88 formula. He also had a retro 80s theme that kept true to the 80s style. 80s music, 80s everything. His car is pristine stock. And the next one went to Justin Picard with his modified LS4 V8. And this one, modified all the way, all done by him, and it just the detail that both of these guys put into their cars. And you've got not only staying true to what the 80s are, but also bringing the Fiero into that next generation, bringing it into that what possibly could have been the next part of the Fiero. So congratulations to both you. Let's take a quick moment and listen to what the winners had to say about their big win. All right, we are now here with John Revelle. He is the second co-winner of the Best in the Midwest. He took the stock end of it, where Justin took the modified. And I've known you for a long time, and your enthusiasm for the car and your 80s nostalgia as well. Tell us a little bit about your car and what makes the car part of you.
So I bought the car as my first car back in 2007. I had just turned 16 a month prior. I learned to drive in that car working at Six Flags, so I'd drive it to Six Flags. My mom would drive it back because I was on a permit at the time, and then vice versa, coming home. So that's how I racked my hours up. I took my driving exam in that car. Then I daily drove it for 5 years, and daily.
It is not a quiet time here at Fierorama as the modified cars start pulling away. So we'll get back to John.
My mom owned an 86 coupe, 4-cylinder, and when she showed me, when I asked her when I was real young about her past cars, she had a Grand Prix at the time. She told me about her Fiero, and she showed me a picture of it. And we were coming home from church one day, and saw one in a used car lot on the way home. So we pulled over, and she let me take a look at it. I sat in it, and instantly took interest in it. So about 16, I start looking at cars, and I was drawn to the Fiero right away. I wanted something user-friendly, but strange. You know, something something that wasn't gonna be in the high school parking lot.
It was an oddity.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what set me down the path of being broke all the time.
And your nostalgia for the 80s too. Yeah. I mean, that's something that keeps true to the car, that keeps true to the Fiero, because it is truly an 80s car.
Yeah. So. Well, and part of that is when I got into the Fiero, it kind of shaped my taste in music. I like 80s music, you know, Gary Newman, Go-Go's, psychedelic furs, shit like that. So yeah, that kind of, when I got the Fiero, I kind of started developing my own taste in music, and I started listening to The Loop back in the day. And that kind of drew me further into, you know, 80s culture. You know, even prior to owning the Fiero, I was into the prime of retail, shopping malls, things like that. Photography, analog photography, Polaroid cameras, things of that nature. So the Fiero just kind of feeds into that appreciation for the technology of the era. You know?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Congratulations again. I mean, that truly is an award to be bragging about. Yes. I mean, that's, you know, to have that honor is, you know, you know, that's a true honor to be best in the Midwest. And like I tell Justin, you know, it's not just best in the Midwest. You know, it's best in the U.S.
Yeah.
And it, you know, to have, you know, the enthusiasm that Fred has on that, and to be incorporated, to have 2 awards given out means a lot. So
I mean, hey, we put the cult in cult cars. So.
Exactly. Congratulations. Thank you again, and we'll see you around.
Cool.
Just co-took the Best in the Midwest with John Revelle. We'll start with Jen. What did you think of the show?
Oh, it was great. It was great to see a lot of friends from out in this area that I normally only get to see every couple of years. And beautiful setting, a great park, and great hospitality by N.I.F.E.
And you guys came from?
Virginia.
All right. So how was the drive-in?
It was good.
Good?
Yeah,
Good.
It was fairly painless.
Anything that stood out that you noticed today that in your eyes was one of kind of like a rarity or a showstopper that you saw?
I really loved the oldest and youngest Fiero awards. I thought that was a really cool touch. It's something that I hadn't seen before, so I thought that
It's
was
different.
really cool. Yeah.
It is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Real quickly, just explain for the Best of Show Nonstock, what you brought today to the show.
Sure. So I brought a 1985 GT with 165,000 miles, and this car I had originally rebuilt with my dad back in 2002, and it's particularly arduous process. Got it named the Blue Demon because things went wrong that shouldn't have gone wrong. At that time, it had a 3.4 liter, and it's blue color and some customizations. But then last summer, I had the loss of my dad coupled with my 40th birthday, and also a burgeoning friendship with the Pickards that inspired me to opt to put in an LS4 power plant paired with an F40 transmission, 6-speed.
Wow.
And Gary and Justin actually built up the engine and did the cradle and cradle mounts. And then Matt and I prepped the car, did the brakes and suspension, and then the four of us collaborated on the install. And it is quite the ride.
It is a great car. I consider that car a showstopper. Again, I think the last time I saw that was at the 35th, and it's just amazing what you guys have put into it, and just to, again, see it in person just magnifies what you guys have done. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
And have a safe journey home.
Thank you.
Now we get it from Justin. So you took the award at Carlisle, and explain what you did to your car and why you got into the Fieros and the modifications that you did.
So back in Carlisle, it was mostly stock other than minor suspension stuff. It did have an LS swap, but the paint was horrible. It needed pretty much a full rebuild. So over the past 2 months straight, I've been working on it nonstop. Every night, every day that I can. So we got the motor pulled, refreshing that, built up the turbo kit myself. We took the body panels off and had a buddy paint it. Then it got full suspension front and rear coilovers. So it is a completely different car than when I brought it to Carlisle.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Were you shocked? Were you surprised? Or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, competing with a car that's completely different than everyone else's, and especially having an all original car by someone the same age as me is crazy. But it was a really good time. Super glad that I was picked for it, and it's been a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is a high honor, and I say that in the posts that we do with N.I.F.E and the Fierorama ones and stuff like that. This is truly something that is a bragging right to have.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, even though it's the best in the Midwest, really it's the best in the U.S.
Yeah.
Because you guys have, created something that fits you, that forms you, and puts you with that car.
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you many times around.
Oh, yeah.
So, have a safe journey home. And again, congratulations on the big award.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Well, again, congratulations to not only the Best in Show winners, Jeff Jones and Jen Goss, but also John Revelle and Justin Picard. I don't know. I just threw that Boston accent in there. It's, hey, Picard from Boston. Anyways, moving back into Chicago. So that will end this year's Fiorama 25. And as a quick little send-off, let's hear from Jim Hallman on his thoughts on the conclusion of this year's show. All right, we are now here with Jim Hallman, and I'd say the show was a big success.
Mike, it was a big success. Obviously, thanks to everyone that participated today. From what I gather, we had like 16, 17 states that showed up. A total of 102 Fieros. And best guesstimate on my part, it's probably been probably 8 to 10 years since we had over 100. So we, personally, I'd met a goal for that as soon as I started hearing all the buzz. And I thought for sure that we'd hit 100, and we hit 102. So I think it was a very good, successful show today.
Would you say overwhelming?
Overwhelming? No, but if this was the biggest Fierorama yet, it would have been overwhelming, but this was a nice, good size. It was just great to see the support of everyone with so many different states. It was great, with everything going on, it was just great to forget all that and just enjoy each other's company with the Fiero.
Yeah, like you said, there's so many states that were represented here. They're different view of cars too.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot, what I say, supercars. We've got the Pro Street, we've got the Blue Demon, and we've got a lot of the a variety of pure stock to pure custom.
Yeah.
And the craftsmanship that went into a lot of this.
Mm-hmm. And simply, as was represented by the Midwest Fiero Club to display, I mean, there were bone stock cars in there, and then there were custom cars in there. I mean, the wide variety, the wide gamut, I mean, it's just really nice to see all that.
As you can hear in the background, we do have a lot of the V8s and non-V8s heading out, but you had a chance to walk around the show. The people pick their favorite cars and stuff like that. What 1, 2, or 3 stood out for you?
I think it was nice to see so many represented from the East Coast, like the Pickards and Jennifer Goss's car. I mean, it was nice to have those. A lot of the people in the Fiero community don't really get to see those cars here in the Midwest because, I mean, obviously that's a big hike for them. Knowing that someone drove over 600,000 miles or 600 miles from Alabama, I mean, that's a big testament to what our show is all about, just enjoying the Fiero.
And the other thing too is we had some mishaps. A couple of people had some hard lucks, but everybody joined together to help everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's something I appreciate, Mike. You pointed that out during the award ceremony. I mean, it wasn't really just the hard luck award, but it's every single hard luck award had a good story behind it, behind the fact that somebody from the Fiero community was doing the best they could to help them out.
Yes. Yep.
And that's one of the reasons why we call it, the hard luck / helping hand award, because there's always somebody there that wants to help and offer help as best they could.
Yeah, and with Greg getting emotional, and he had every right to get emotional because people he did not know stepped up and helped him. And welcomed him into that close-knit Fiero family.
Yep. And that's part of as I mentioned, I mean, that's part of what the Fiero community is all about. I mean, it's just helping each other out, and hey, none of us are in this alone. We're in a very unique niche car, and there's a lot of people out here that know how to keep the cars running, and those people are willing to offer their help to help those that may not know as much technically about the car.
Exactly. Well, congratulations on a very successful show. And we hope we get that back next year and more years to come. And 25th, that's a great milestone.
Yep. Yeah, hoping, I don't know if I'll be around, but maybe we'll get to 50. Looking forward to it, though, either way.
All right, thank you. And we'll see you guys next year. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Jim. Thank you again to everybody who came out to this awesome Fierorama 25. This show is, I'm going to say, dedicated to all of you guys, and it was a show for the record books. So, again, that takes care of the 2021 Fierorama 25th anniversary show. What a show it was, and we hope to see all of you again next year at the 26th annual show. Be sure to keep a lookout at FieroFocus.com and on our Fierorama Facebook page for information on not only this past year's show, but also the show in 2022, our 26th annual show. As things start coming together for that show, we will start getting that information out to you guys. Again, I can't say enough about this year's show. It does take a lot out of you. It does take time to come down and So I apologize for this podcast being late, but I did want to get everything that I could include of Fierorama into this podcast. So thank you again for joining me tonight. I am your host, Mike Croyer, and this is a publication and production of the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts. Thank you for listening to the newest episode of FieroCast. This is episode 24, and it is the only podcast dedicated to the Pontiac Fiero. If you have any ideas on future shows or any ideas on that you just want to talk about, you can get a hold of me at mcroyer, Kroyer, at FieroFocus.com. Send me any ideas you have. I'll get in touch with you, and we can work out the nitty-gritty stuff after that. So remember to keep Fieroing, and good night, Fiero owners, wherever you are.